Hi. Yeah, I'd like to just discuss quite a interesting topic. Um, I found very quickly that the choices we make define the world we create around us. Um, and it's really hard to accept sometimes because you feel that, oh, these things happened to me in my life, and it what I didn't choose it to happen, and blah de blah de blah de blah. And to a certain extent you are right, you never chose it to happen, but you can choose how you handle that situation, how you could change it. But yeah, that's going into quite too deep stuff, really. But it was during my course that my teacher said something to me that just gave me one of those aha moments where I thought, yeah, this makes sense. And he said that our brain is our filter of reality, and the brain is programmable, so it creates constructs. I know it sounds very Matrix, but yeah, Matrix is quite close to a lot, really. And I noticed that, and this started in the morning, because my schedule, or part of my training schedule, is to get up at 5:30 in the morning, get my couple of hours of practice done so I can start the rest of my day. Now, I've never been a morning person. For me, early is 8-9 o'clock in the morning, not 5:30. But I realized that that's, excuse my language, but rubbish, bollocks. It's the choice that I made to say that 8 o'clock is early and 9 o'clock is early. See where I'm going at? And even when I wake up at 5:30 in the morning or 6 o'clock, I haven't got to 5:30, that's just a lie. But when I get up at 6 o'clock, I sit in bed and I realize there and then I have a choice right now. I have the choice to be lazy and continue to stay in bed, or I have a choice to get up and do what I want to create the world that I want. So yeah, these choices are very powerful, and that's just a small example. I can choose how I feel. I can choose the type of friends I want around me. I can choose the family that I want around me. And our social conditioning teaches us to have these constructs that we're obliged by certain relationships, and we're obliged by certain friendships. Oh, because someone's been my friend for 15 years, suddenly he turns into an arsehole. I still have to be his friend. No, I don't. Because he made a choice, or she made a choice. And hence the friendships got to end. So yeah, that was a crucial thing. And some old friends who suddenly the friendships have revived because of the choices I've made. They've chosen to become friends again because they've seen that the choices I'm making are healthy, are good for everyone around. So yeah, this works. Now, I remember thinking about this and asking myself, well, hold on. We always say choices, affects our universe. Or, for example, we make choices and the universe around us adjusts to those choices, so we're basically creating our reality by from what I am seeing from my own experience in the last 2 weeks. And I know there's a lot of arguments against that, and I had my own argument actually, because growing up as a youngster, even though I grew up in a pretty privileged environment, the family around me were not entirely emotionally educated, should I say. And I received a lot of abuse, physical, mental, everything from my family. And I could easily say, well, that wasn't my fault. That was, my parents' fault, or my uncle's fault, or my auntie's fault, or whoever's fault. But it wasn't my fault. It was my teacher's fault. Ooh, it was the neighbor's fault. But it wasn't my fault. But, when do I take responsibility that maybe, just maybe, it was my fault? I know, it's a hard pill to swallow, because you think, well, am I a loser because I chose to be a loser? Yeah, not very nice, huh? But reality is, yeah, absolutely. I can choose to be powerful. I can choose to be weak. I can choose to be a dick. I can choose not to be a dick. It's entirely my choice. And of course, there is, some learning to go with it, but it still comes with the choice to learn or not learn. And I choose not to learn. I chose to play the victim. So, give you an example, again, back to my childhood. When I was in situations where, if my parents told me off on something, or treated me in a way that was not justified, rather than taking responsibility of the situation and maybe sitting down with my parents or my family and saying, I don't accept that, Could we have a conversation around what you just did and how it made me feel? And could we come to an arrangement? Could we try to understand each other? No, I didn't do that. I just chose to blame. This is really hard to admit, but it is true. It is absolutely true. I chose to be weak. Then there's the other example when people say, well, if I'm in Baghdad and bombs are falling all around me and people are dying, I didn't choose that to happen to me. No, you didn't. But you can choose how you deal with that situation. I heard a story about, I don't know if it was Suzuki or Honda, but when they were bombing the country, rather than looking at bombs, he was looking at a scrap metal. He goes, ooh, they're throwing me more scrap metal. And he took this scrap metal and started to build bikes with it. So again, it was that choice he made. Am I the victim, or can I make something from this? Can I do something from this? Should I create a revolution? Should I choose to help the people who are suffering from it? What should I do? So, yeah, it is choice. It is choice. Now, pulling on a bit here, I'm looking at the time, it's going on a bit, but I want to finish on one last thing. A lot of people say, well, I make choices to do something and it doesn't happen. I've thought about this quite a lot, because I've made many choices. I've said, I want to create this, I want to become this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that. And those things it doesn't feel like the universe is helping me. But I've come to realize that the universe wants to help me, but it's making sure that I am choosing the right choice. Am I choosing to want something because it will feed my insecurity? Do I, for example, let's use a common one, clothes. Do I want all these clothes so that I can look better than my neighbors? Or do I want these clothes so I feel good for myself? Do I want loads of money so I can show other people I have loads of money, look at me? Or do I want more money because it opens more or gives me more options in life to grow? Which one is it? Do these choices develop from ego, from fear, from jealousness, from insecurity? Or do these choices appear from love, from growth, from joy, from you wanting something for yourself? Absolutely for yourself. Not to show anybody, not to, beat the Jones, not to be better than anyone. You do it for you. And when you do it for you, well, I'll just speak for myself. When I started to do and genuinely start to do things that I wanted to do genuinely because I like to do them, because they do make me feel happy, because they do make me feel alive, I notice that it's happening. It's creating around me. And I can't explain it. I don't want to explain it. I'm just grateful that I've got it and it's helping me. But I also know it's coming from a more honest place. It's coming from I can't explain it, but it's coming from me, from my genuine self. Not because I want to better anyone, not because I want to show off, not because I'm feeding an insecurity, not because I'm hiding or any of that. It's got to do with me wanting something, like genuinely. And making that choice, just life seems to come and help. And the trick is to hold on to those genuine, authentic choices. Yeah, so that's where I'm at the moment. And it was a really powerful, I guess, realization for myself, who always felt that I never made the choices to put me in the situation that I am now, when in actual fact I did.